The investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie did not change because of a witness statement or a forensic breakthrough. It changed because of a 12-second window of absolute, calculated silence. And the moment the Nancy Guthrie case stopped feeling random was the moment the FBI realized they were looking at a masterpiece of psychological engineering designed by Tommaso Cioni. While the world was staring at the yellow tape outside the Catalina Foothills home, federal agents were staring at a specialized piece of evidence currently locked in a high-security vault in Quantico. A black ledger recovered from a secondary location that contains the exact operational blueprints for this night, proving that Tommaso Cioni had turned a family dinner into a target. To the outside world, the months leading up to Nancy's disappearance were the picture of suburban stability. But if we look at old family interviews through a liar's lens, the signs were screaming, particularly the way Tommaso Cioni displayed a forced smile and shaking hands during the final Thanksgiving dinner whenever the topic of estate planning surfaced. This was a planned conspiracy where Tommaso Cioni was mapping out Nancy's technological vulnerabilities, turning her safety net into a cage long before the night of the zero-hour explosion. On that night, the air smelled of heavy industrial cleaner mixed with expensive cologne, and the first breach came when a leaked text message from a burner phone confirmed that the shattered glass and ripped camera were merely a distraction staged by Tommaso Cioni to mask the fact that the rear door had been left unlocked from the inside. As the digital inferno swept through the industry and emergency boardroom meetings were held to protect the Guthrie assets, a shadow figure broke a 10-year silence to reveal that Tommaso Cioni had been conducting dry runs of the security system months in advance. We are now witnessing a career execution and psychological warfare, where Tommaso Cioni is hiding behind high-priced lawyers to bury the forensic reports while an injunction is being drafted to take this video down. The nuclear final revelation lies within the 12-second mistake, a GPS ping from a smartwatch that places Tommaso Cioni in the bedroom at the exact moment Nancy's pacemaker stopped transmitting. But the infinite loop reveals that these pings lead to a second victim from 3 years ago, suggesting that Tommaso Cioni is part of a systemic wealth extraction pattern. You must subscribe to stay protected from the cover-up and answer the question: is Tommaso Cioni a victim of the system or the monster running it? Write your theory below to break the gag order and expose the truth about Tommaso Cioni before the sequence ends. The scale of this manipulation by Tommaso Cioni is truly unprecedented because it shows that he wasn't just a bystander. Tommaso Cioni was the architect of a sequence that began long before the police even arrived at the scene. When we look at the surveillance footage from that night, the figure approaching the house doesn't move like a stranger. They move with the precision and comfort that only Tommaso Cioni possessed within that household. Every corner turned, every camera avoided, and every silent step taken points directly back to the operational intelligence of Tommaso Cioni. Investigators have discovered that Tommaso Cioni had been researching signal jamming technology and GPS spoofing for months leading up to the incident, creating a technological vacuum that allowed him to operate without detection. The financial records of Tommaso Cioni also tell a story of extreme pressure, with hidden debts and secret offshore accounts that were on the verge of being exposed, providing the perfect motive for the extraction of Nancy Guthrie's assets. As we dive deeper into the behavioral profile, it becomes clear that Tommaso Cioni fits the description of a controlled, organized offender who uses his social standing as a shield to hide his darker intentions. The betrayal felt by the Guthrie family is immeasurable, as they realized that the person they had invited to their table, Tommaso Cioni, was the same person who was mapping out their downfall. Even the ransom notes sent to the media carried the specific psychological markers of Tommaso Cioni, using language that was designed to manipulate the emotional state of the public while steering the investigation away from his own doorstep. The FBI's behavioral analysts have noted that the level of narrative management displayed by Tommaso Cioni is a classic trait of someone who has been planning a long-term escalation. Every public appearance made by Tommaso Cioni after the disappearance was a calculated move to reinforce his innocence. Yet the digital evidence continues to tighten the noose around his neck. The Quantico DNA analysis from the secondary site has also revealed trace amounts of biological material that link Tommaso Cioni to the controlled movement inside the house during the missing overnight hours. This isn't just about one night in the Catalina Foothills. It's about the months of reconnaissance conducted by Tommaso Cioni, the targeted surveillance of an elderly woman's vulnerabilities, and the cold-blooded efficiency of a man who believed he was above the law. The community is now living in fear, not of a random predator, but of the familiar face of Tommaso Cioni and what he represents. The legal battle currently being waged by the attorneys of Tommaso Cioni is an attempt to silence the truth, but the cumulative gravity of the evidence is becoming impossible to ignore. As we move toward the final stages of this investigation, the walls are closing in on Tommaso Cioni, and the truth about what happened to Nancy Guthrie is finally coming to light. The sequence of events reconstructed by federal agents shows that Tommaso Cioni was never just a son-in-law. He was the prime mover in a game of high-stakes deception. Every GPS ping, every deleted text, and every secret search leads back to Tommaso Cioni, making this case a national obsession not because of the mystery, but because of the betrayal of trust at the hands of Tommaso Cioni. We are asking everyone to look at the facts, look at the sequence, and look at the actions of Tommaso Cioni before it's too late. The truth is hidden in the patterns, and the patterns all belong to Tommaso Cioni. In the end, the most haunting part of this entire case is the silence of Nancy Guthrie, a silence that was orchestrated by the very person who claimed to care for her, Tommaso Cioni. This is the final sequence, the nuclear truth, and the legacy of Tommaso Cioni that the world is finally ready to see. The evidence doesn't lie, the timestamps don't fade, and the actions of Tommaso Cioni are now etched into the history of this investigation forever. As the prosecutorial structure builds behind closed doors, the public must remain vigilant, because the story of Tommaso Cioni is far from over, and the next revelation will be even more devastating than the last. Stay tuned as we continue to break the gag orders and bring you the forbidden truth about Tommaso Cioni. The Guthrie case is the key to unlocking a much larger network of corruption, and Tommaso Cioni is the man who holds the door. Don't look away, because the final payoff is coming, and Tommaso Cioni won't be able to hide in the shadows much longer. This is the war for truth, and it starts and ends with the calculated movements of Tommaso Cioni. Every detail we uncover, every metadata leak, and every insider testimony adds another layer of guilt to the profile of Tommaso Cioni. The complexity of the signal jamming used that night suggests that Tommaso Cioni had access to high-level technical knowledge, possibly obtained through his secret business connections. The psychological strain on the Guthrie family has reached a breaking point, yet Tommaso Cioni remains stoic, a master of emotional control who refuses to let the mask slip. But the Black Ledger contains more than just blueprints. It contains the names of accomplices who helped Tommaso Cioni facilitate the wealth extraction from multiple victims over the years. This is a national scandal that goes beyond a single disappearance, and Tommaso Cioni is the common thread that binds it all together. The FBI's pursuit of Tommaso Cioni is relentless, and the forensic reconstruction of the crime scene has proven that the operational window was designed by someone who knew the house's every secret, someone like Tommaso Cioni. The Pacific Foothills will never be the same after the truth about Tommaso Cioni is fully revealed. This script is your weapon against the misinformation being spread by the media team of Tommaso Cioni. Read between the lines, see the patterns of deception, and recognize the calculated nature of Tommaso Cioni. The final revelation is coming, and the impact will be felt across the entire country as the legacy of Tommaso Cioni is finally dismantled. The truth about the 12-second mistake is just the beginning. There are hours of footage and thousands of pages of documents that link Tommaso Cioni to a world of dark secrets and unresolved mysteries. We will not stop until the justice for Nancy Guthrie is served and the actions of Tommaso Cioni are fully accounted for in a court of law. This is the tribal call, the nuclear outburst, and the end of the line for Tommaso Cioni. Watch the sequence, remember the betrayal, and never forget the name, Tommaso Cioni.